How's it going, Yankee fans? My name is Alex, and my co-host here, Nick Nielsen. And today we want to take a look at projecting the bullpen for the 26-man playoff roster. Now, we know the Yankees are kind of still in flux, trying to figure out if they're going to start Garrett Cole or Nestor Cortez. I know Aaron Boone did say that they were going to figure it out in 24 hours. Seemingly, it's taking a little bit longer than that. And I was thinking about it, and I kind of get why it's taking longer. And but at face value, you're looking at both options, Cole and Cortez, and you're probably coming to the conclusion that Cortez was the better pitcher this year, right? Like, he deserves to be the number one guy, start game one. And then you have Garrett Cole go 2 and 5. He's more accustomed to pitching on short rest. But then you start to realize that, okay, well, Garrett Cole's numbers against, let's assume here the Rays win, or, I honestly, either or. Cole's numbers against both the Rays and Guardians are better than Cortez's, right? So you're like, okay, especially the Rays. Cole has really kicked the shit out of the Rays this year, specifically.
Yeah, I wish we got to face him, dude. I'm so mad the Guardians won that mid-off game. That game was painfully boring. 14 innings, 1 run.
14 innings. I mean, that's just terrible. So
the Rays did nothing all 2 games, so it's like, okay, but like the Guardians also didn't look great. So it's like, well, we should be able to beat the Guardians, I hope.
Yeah.
I hope.
I mean, they obviously weren't scoring very much. So, you have Tyler Glass now. He went 5 innings, and then the bullpen just carried the Rays. But Cleveland didn't score much in those 2 games. They scored, 2 runs, and then 1 run, and 2-1 and 1-0. I mean, Tampa Bay, obviously, their offense kind of shut down. But Guardians are a beatable team. They're young. They got some good pitchers. But, you obviously look at the fact that they already had Shane Bieber pitch yesterday. And then who pitched for them today?
Tristan McKenzie today.
Tristan McKenzie. So they're already on their third starter. So Tuesday comes around. I don't think that Shane Bieber is going to be able to go on Tuesday. I'll probably be able to go on Wednesday if I was to guess.
Yeah.
Maybe he goes on short rest. We'll see how they kind of operate there. But Yankees got to take that first game. I think they got to. That's kind of got to be where they make their mark. And you're at home. You're healthy. You're starting to get some of these guys back. Wandy, obviously. DJ LeMahieu is kind of on the mend right now. We'll see how healthy he really is. Stanton was looking sharp before. Obviously, you get Clay Holmes back. Definitely a couple guys that are worth noting. But I want to discuss the bullpen, my man. Definitely an interesting situation. Obviously, we'll have to talk about all this Chapman, who I think that you probably would agree with. Ryan and I. Ryan, every single time Chapman's name is brought up, it's just an absolute just barrage of insults.
Well, it's because our old doofus doesn't deserve to be on the roster, dude. He's awful, terrible. And he's going to make it on the bullpen because of some injuries right now. Like, unfortunately, I'm going to have to watch the ALDS without Ron the Don, which is like a shot to the leg, and I'm crippled walking to the finish line. But the fact that you have guys like Wandy coming back healthy now, finally looks like, after he had the time on the IL there with his what was it? Was it a back issue that he went on the IL with? And you have some other guys coming back. Holmes hopefully will be looking good. Like Efros, I really like Efros as well. Trevino's been as solid as they come. Like there's options there, but a roll doofus, if he pitches in any inning past the 6th inning in any game of the postseason, I will not take this franchise seriously. Like, you cannot be doing this. He's a domestic terrorist. He's the worst human being of all time and a bad baseball player. Like, God. Oh, sorry. Roll this, dude. That guy, if he's going to be, for whatever reason, he's going to be trusted in close situations. You just know it's going to happen.
Yeah. I really hope to God he's not put in high leverage situations. But let's talk about the right-handed pitchers first before we dive into that. So we kind of have an idea of who the right-handed bullpen arms will be. Scott Efros obviously is penciled in there. Jonathan Loáisiga penciled in. Clark Schmidt,
he's been so good too. Low second half has been insane.
He has been. We're finally seeing him get back to himself, which is awesome. Clark Schmidt, I think he'll be on. It could be a game time decision for that, but I think he makes it on there just simply because Marinaccio obviously is on the IL right now. He may take over Clark Schmidt's spot in the ALCS if the Yankees do make it there. Then you have Lou Trevino and Clay Holmes. Those are the primary guys. And if you want to throw in another starting pitcher, I'd probably go Domingo Germán until Frankie Montas is able to play, which probably won't be until the ALCS, if at all. So, what are your thoughts on Scott Efros, Domingo Germán, Loáisiga, Schmidt, Trevino, and Clay Holmes?
I think it's a very solid group of relievers. Like that's the thing with this Yankees bullpen. I've seen a lot of people like talking about like, and I've seen some specifically like the Athletic piece that came out a little bit ago where they talked about how like NL scouts were saying the bullpen's not that good. Aroldis is done, and it's like Aroldis is done. You're right, but the bullpen's pretty solid. It's not like it doesn't have any superstar names like we've had in years past. There is no runs DMC, like with Dellin Betances, Miller, and Chapman that we used to run out there. But there are arms that can get it done, and if used correctly in different situations, I think we can get by without having a closer set in stone. Because it seems like that's kind of the way that Boone may want to roll this postseason. Like maybe he wants to use Clay Holmes as a closer, like set him out as a closer and just kind of set him aside for those specific situations. But at the same time, Holmes is one of our best relievers. So if it's an eighth inning and it's a one-run game, Clay Holmes better be in the game, or Loizaga better be in the game. Like that's just like smart bullpen management. So I like the righties a lot. I honestly don't mind the lefties either for the pen. We only have a couple that we're going to probably really talk about here, but the righties are not the issue with this. The lefties are the problem because when we go into the lefties here in a second, it's a lot of question marks around the lefty relievers for this Yankees team. Like Litke, he's probably the best lefty reliever not named Wandy, and like Litke really can't pitch in a close game. Like he's great in the fifth inning through the seventh inning of a 5-run game. That's what he's good at.
Yeah, look, I don't trust Licky at all, for the record. And I've said this, I've been a proponent of this for a long time. Look, Licky is good if you have a significant lead and you're trying to get through innings and he can eat up those innings, or if you're being blown the fuck out and you're just trying to get through the innings. You're just trying to say, okay, let's just throw him out there. He'll get us through whatever. The Yankees most likely, well, okay, let's hope to God they have a 7-run lead and they can throw Lucas Licky out there to get us home, to just take us home, get us to that
3
win.
innings.
That's fine. I'm good with that. But most likely that's not going to be the case. Most likely you're looking at 2, 3, 4-run advantages maximum in the playoffs, when things are a little bit more intense. Yeah. And Lucas Licky is capable of giving up 3 runs in the blink of an eye in against better teams. Look, he hasn't been bad this year by any means. He has 2.67 ERA. But again, they put him in low leverage positions when the other team is already demoralized or they're already just kind of already have quit. If you look at like the games that he's played in, like 7-5 win, 14-2 win, 10-4 win, 7-1 win, 7-4 win, 13-4 win. Like these games, most of them are just massively swung already. Yeah. 12-5, 13-4, 13-2. Like the Yankees are just kicking the shit out of their team. And they're like, all right, let's just get through these innings without using our big arms. Licky is not someone I'm putting in high leverage situations. Yes, he's a lefty, but high leverage situations, I'm leaning on freaking Wandy all day long. Absolutely. Right now, I kind of feel a little bit more comfortable putting Wandy to close games than Clay Holmes right now. I don't know if you're feeling the same way.
I'm kind of in the same boat. It's hard because Clay has been looking better as of late, especially since he came back from his Phantom IL stint. But Wandy is the definition of consistency. Mm-hmm. The only thing I worry about with Wandy sometimes is that when there's runners on, he sometimes can struggle to find his location and to get his changeup going and to get his out pitch. And then you look at its runners on first and second, and then it's like, what's happening here? But for the most part, I trust Wandy Peralta like very, very much more than I do like basically every other arm, except for I'd probably say Loizaga right now. Like Jonathan Loizaga has been our best bullpen arm since the All-Star break. And I don't think it's been like talked about enough. Like the guy's been doing everything and then some. His sinker's been getting the break that it used to get. It's getting like 18 inches of movement. Like his slider and curveball just as disgusting as they've always been. Like he seems to have his confidence back, and I think that's huge for the team. Like having Loizaga is basically like it's hard because you can't. It's hard to pick the guys that are going to take the innings that Marinaccio would have pitched and say, oh yeah, it's like we don't really need Ron because we have him who's pitching really well. But having Loizaga pitching as well as he's pitching means that Marinaccio's injury is not nearly as detrimental as it could have been. To where it's like, oh yeah, Marinaccio's injured and Loizaga still hasn't come around. So now at least we have him. I don't know. I'd say my trust tree right now is probably Loizaga, Wandy, Holmes, F. Ross. Those are and then Trevino. Like those 5 are my guys.
Trevino's been great.
Yeah, those 5 are the guys that should be in the game in a 1-run game.
Yeah, I agree. I think I'd probably go right now with my comfort level. I'd probably go Wandy. This might be a hot take. I actually would take Lou Trevino after him, Efros, and then Clay Holmes right now. Actually, sorry, let me redo that. I forgot about Loizaga. I'd probably go with Wandy, and then I'd go with Loizaga, Lou. I guess Efros and Clay are kind of a wash for me right now. And then you could throw in Clark Schmidt, Domingo Herman. Domingo Herman's really a guy that I look at and say he can just carry you through a couple innings. Clay,
Yeah.
look, Clay Holmes, when he's on his game, is the top guy. Like, there's no doubt about it. Like, I'd rather have him than anybody else if he's on his game. But that August scared the shit out of me. 6.75 ERA, backed it up in September with better numbers, 3.55, still not bad at all. But not where he was by any means. He had his final 2 starts before heading to the IL. No runs over 3 innings, only gave up 1 hit. So that's definitely optimistic in terms of what he can do moving forward. I mean, he went through a stretch of games where he gave up an earned run in 3 consecutive games, and 4 out of 5 games he gave up a run in the middle of September, which is not ideal. But I think that injury was bothering him. Yeah, not ideal. So the Yankees can't afford to be giving up any runs in the back end of games. You look at Wandy on the other hand. Like after that game against Milwaukee, where obviously he was not feeling his best, and they put him on the IL right after that. If you take away that game, he hadn't given up a runs in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 consecutive games or appearances. So that's pretty good, I'd say.
Yeah, that's pretty all right.
Frost is a rookie for the most part. He's young, like he's not experienced in the playoffs. He's not going to be someone I trust just yet. He looked rattled. Not rattled in the sense that he got beat up, but he looked just rattled the fact that he was pitching for the Yankees when he first started. He looked jittery. You could see it on his face. He was nervous. Rightfully so. I don't blame him at all. I'd be shitting bricks if I was him. But I'll throw this out there. Put him in the postseason. I don't think he's ready for that mentally. I don't think he's ready to be a high leverage relief pitcher mentally in the postseason just yet in a big moment. He needs to be introduced, right? I don't think they can throw him into the mix. I don't think that baptism by fire isn't the way you want to go about getting guys involved in the postseason. I think that you say, okay, the Yankees have a substantial lead, not even substantial. 3 runs is enough for me. 3-run lead, throw Efros in there, where he can't do too much damage to himself. And he gets out of inning, feels good, builds some confidence. Then you can roll into the next game feeling, okay, I think he's good, but I just don't. 1 run, you really got to shut him down. This could be a hot take, and they could totally throw him in there and he could kick ass and I'd be happy with it. But just from what I've seen with my eyes, no numbers, like as some people, in the comments.
Oh, the old heads are going to love this.
Yeah. Sometimes this is no numbers involved. This is just from what I've seen watching Efros. He looked a little rattled, being in some high leverage situations of the regular season. He looked a little jittery, got some lucky plays and postseason comes around. I'd rather introduce him in an easier situation before throwing him right into the fire. That's just my preference. And only because he has no playoff experience. But, you look at other guys like Wandy, you look at other guys, Loizaga, they have playoff experience. Those are the guys I'm looking at to rely on in big moments now. Those are the guys that I trust. Clay Holmes has no playoff experience. So it's like, kind of just a watch them. You're hoping for the best. But he kind of seems composed. I think the injury was hurting him.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Yeah. He seems like he's kind of, he knows what he's doing. And like, I agree with you to an extent about Efros as well. But I would have said the same for Marinaccio. I would have had Marinaccio in honestly, like the same thing that you're saying for Efros, I could say for Marinaccio. Like he's a rookie. I don't know if I don't know if I'd trust him in those big situations yet. Even though throughout the season, I was the biggest advocate for get Ron the closer job. Now I'm like, maybe it's probably smart that the team used him the way they did, even though they used him when he was injured, which was just negligence, but whatever. I think that the Yankees are going to have some sort of, not like a chart or like a tree, like a trust tree, but like a guy to turn to in this spot that can get outs. And I don't know who they're going to make that guy out to be this postseason. I don't know who they're going to kind of lean on to pitch a lot of innings. Chad Green was that guy for a lot of years, where he'd basically come in there whenever the going got tough, and it was like, well, Chad Green's going to save the day.
Yeah, the person that steps up in the first game will be relied on. This is like, the playoffs are interesting, right? Because it's kind of like a hot hand approach. You got to be careful.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You got to play the guys. Right. You got to play the guys that are continuously performing. And the Yankees, they got the numbers. They know what lack of experience can do to you, right? Like, like they're thinking right now, okay, Cleveland has their top 2 starters out, right? This is okay. So this is my argument for the starting pitching thing that we were discussing earlier. The argument for me right now is I would go Cortez game 1 personally. I think maybe they go Cole because he has the better numbers against them, but I would go Cortez personally in game 1 because you have a significant advantage already
Yeah.
with Cleveland's top 2 pitchers already, just pitching a couple days ago, like today and yesterday. And the Yankees can take advantage of that. And then you have Cole against Shane Bieber in game 2, which is your preferable matchup. And then because Cole has experience in the playoffs and a ton of it for that matter, he knows how to pitch on short rest. He then also appears in game 5. Given this is a game 6, you have Cortez for game 6. That's kind of how I can
that.
see
No,
it.
I like your logic behind that. I think that's a great idea. Like, and again, it's not like like you said, we're not really losing anything either from going from
Right.
Cole to Cortez in terms of the quality of pitching drop off.
No, not at all.
Nestor's been elite this year. Just had the lowest ERA by a Yankee like ever since I think 19
Yeah,
19
Ron
or something.
Guidry.
Since the Louisiana Lightning. And then Cole, of course, broke Guidry's single season strikeout record this year. Damn, it was a rough year for the Louisiana Lightning.
Ron Guidry's lost
just
all of his history book scratch-ins.
But no, like I would be fine seeing Nestor start game 1 for us in the ALDS. Like, honestly, I kind of am expecting it because the way you just explained it is what I think the Yankees are thinking too as well. Where it's like, they're probably going to roll out. I don't know if it's going to be Quantrill, maybe they may want to look to, or maybe they do with like Plesac. I don't know what they're going to want to do for their game 1 pitcher because technically it'll be game 3, like you said, for the Indians or for the Guardians. So maybe they think about that and they're like, yeah, Nestor, you're going to face their game 3 starter essentially, and then we're going to go to Cole, then we're going to go to Sevy, and then we're going to probably go back to you, Nestor. Like, I don't know, and I like the way that's set up. Honestly, like you can do a 3-man rotation, especially with our team, and we're going to have likely 1, maybe 2 of our starters in the bullpen. Like you said, Domingo. I didn't really touch on Domingo because Domingo to me is just kind of like he's just there. He's just one of the arms that we'll have. Like we didn't even touch on Albert Abreu, and I think that Domingo's pitched really well. I can't knock him. He's pitched pretty well, except for this last start where he didn't want to see us win 100 games. But like watching him pitch, it does give you a bit of nerves, and when he misses badly. But out of a bullpen role, I think Domingo's curveball could be very, very nice and very well used and utilized if done well. Like if we can use Domingo kind of even after a Cole start, and let's say Cole gives us 7 innings and we're up 3-4 runs, give Domingo the 8th and 9th inning. Let him get us out of it. Save the rest of the bullpen arms. Let him just basically come from 100-mile-an-hour fastballs high and inside from Cole to nothing but breaking stuff. Could be a nice little play.
It could be. And Domingo Germán, when you actually look at what he does in the first inning of games, it's okay. 3.86 ERA in the first inning. I tend to look at first innings as like bullpen appearances. You know what I mean? Because mostly you're coming in and you don't have time to like get ready. You know what I mean? If you're a bullpen arm, like you got to make an impact immediately. You can't settle into a game. You know what I mean? You got to be ready. Domingo Germán as a starter, first inning, you got to be ready. Obviously, you can't afford to be giving up runs that early. 3.86 ERA, so it's not bad. That's the only correlation I can generally make that logically like connects the dots in my head. The grind,
no, it's a good correlation. That makes sense.
The wheels start grinding when I think that way. But again, middle of the game, the difference is intensity, right? Because the beginning of a game, it's not that intense yet. But you have Domingo Germán coming in the 7th inning with a 1-run lead. It's kind of intense. And you got to be ready.
It's a different vibe. I mean, mentally, everyone says it in every sport you play in. Anything you do, the postseason is like it's a completely separate season. It's a new season. Like that's why it's like you got to be ready for this, and that's why the wild card weekend this weekend. I wish that the Guardians and Rays went to 3 games because why wouldn't you? That means that they play one more game. They have to use more pitchers, and especially if the Rays could have won today, that would have been sublime. 14 innings. They had to use like every pitcher. Like the Guardians tweeted out jokingly, like the Guardians tweeted out Terry Francona's warming up in the bullpen. Like that's how boring this game was.
Yeah. Well, look, the fact that they only used their start. Actually, I know the Rays only used Glass now for 5 innings, which was kind of interesting. But I wonder
just because he's off his injury. But it's like you guys should have let him go 6 or 7.
Yeah. Oh, well, here's
Because
my
then they put in
question.
Fairbanks, and he walked 2 and didn't even get a single out, and then they had to put in another guy, and that's when Adam came in, and he pitched 2 innings because he's an elite reliever.
Mackenzie
Yeah,
pitched 6
McKenzie,
innings.
he's so good, dude. That kid's a beast.
Yeah,
I
it's
went to
not
high
good.
school with his younger brother. Pretty cool
Oh
stuff.
yeah,
Yeah, his younger
he's
brother,
from Brooklyn.
yeah.
He's from Brooklyn. Yeah, he's
His
25 years old.
his younger brother plays for Vandy now. Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's nasty, man. 2.96 ERA on the season, pretty solid.
Very good, very good.
Um,
So I
yeah,
don't know. I'm a little
Pace.
bit worried about the Guardians, dude. I'm not gonna lie. Like I'm definitely more. I wanted to face the Rays over the Guardians. I could be the outlier by saying this, but I just think that the Guardians have a better overall team than the Rays do. And their pitching, I think, is very, very good. Like I think the Guardians pitching staff is one of the best
It
in
is.
baseball. So if we can basically face Bieber as few times as possible, McKenzie as few times as possible, that's all. That's all I really want. Like basically win the first 2 games of the series, so that way you can set the tempo going forward.
Yeah, and this is how I'll cap the episode. Essentially, if the Yankees can match Cleveland's pitching efficiency, the Yankees will win because I think that our offense is significantly better. And when we're hot, the Yankees are, I think they ranked 4th in home runs this year, or close, maybe top 2 or top 3, definitely top 4. And the Cleveland Guardians, where I think we're 26th, if I'm not mistaken. So they don't hit a lot of homers. They're a very good contact hitting team. They get on base pretty efficiently, but the Yankees are doing so as well. They're actually getting on base pretty efficiently this year. So I'm not too concerned about that. I think that if the pitching matches up equally, the Yankees will win because their offense is better. That's how I feel personally. But yeah, so we'll see how it goes, my friends. Tuesday's coming up quickly, which you guys cover with all the news updates, anything that is important, of course. Don't miss a beat here at Fireside Yankees. We got you guys covered as always. But I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Love to hear your thoughts on the bullpen discussion. Who you think should be in, I guess, on the playoff roster? We definitely named a couple of guys. There could be some changes. We'll see kind of what happens here in the coming days. But we should have more information tomorrow at the very latest Monday. So obviously we'll have the answer on our starting pitching question as well, and that will be a big one to discuss. I'm excited to break that down. So hope you guys enjoyed this episode. As always, make sure to like and subscribe. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Some football tomorrow, some more baseball. Always a good time in New York when everyone's winning games. So that's definitely fun, except for the Mets. So it's unfortunate for them.
LOL Mets.
Yeah, they're definitely trying to ruin their own season, but we're here for it. I have nothing against the Mets. I have nothing against the Mets.
Well, yeah. They just talk a lot.
They talk a lot. They're also very upset about the fact that they're a very good team. And I'm like, you guys are a 100-win team.
They're gonzo tonight, dude. They're not winning tonight. Padres sending them home, shutting the door on them. Doesn't matter. DeGrom's gonna go 7 innings and they'll still lose 2-1.
Maybe you might be right. Their offense is dud. It's dead right now. After the Braves just absolutely crushed them. Yeah, they're kind of dead in the water. You're not wrong.
Yeah, no confidence, no mojo, no nothing. They're just kind of like you said.
Pete Alonso's not Aaron Judge.
The same way. Yeah, Pete Alonso's not Aaron Judge. And like the fans at the game, the wild card game was like a fourth of like capacity there. I'm like, what is this?
Yeah,
like,
I saw that.
This is a playoff game, and there's like no one here. I get it was crazy. Like early in the day, but no, it wasn't. It was they played the evening game. The Mets were the evening game. Yeah, at 6 o'clock.
There was nobody there.
But what was that? Like, do they not care about postseason baseball in Queens?
Too expensive. It's like $250
They're not
a ticket.
Used to it. They forgot what it was like.
Who the hell in Queens is paying $250, $300 to go to a freaking Mets game?
Exactly. That's just light your money on fire. Why don't you?
Well, I guess they pretty much did.
Pretty much.
They learned their lesson.
They're like leaving in the 6th inning. I'm like, ugh.
I think after being swept by the Braves and losing that seed, like they were just demoralized. They're like, well, I don't want to buy tickets for this. They also didn't.
They're too busy talking about the Yankees losing their lead, dude.
Yeah, they didn't expect to even have to play that game, so they had to sell tickets like last second. Like that game. Like there was not like months to buy tickets. There was like a day, and the Mets were like, oh shit, yeah, we're gonna be home field advantage just went out the window. So we'll see what happens, my friends. Definitely a lot of baseball to come, a lot of fun. Got you guys covered. Hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your weekend. And we'll catch you guys on the next Fireside Yankees episode.